Today is Tuesday, 22/2/22. That's a pretty special day because we're not going to see any more dates like this in our lifetime. I'm taking this opportunity to share with you what I am doing today and why I chose today specifically. Now, if you have followed me on Instagram, you know that I have launched a new private podcast. That doesn't mean that this podcast is disappearing, so don't worry. But I want to walk you through why I decided this particular moment to launch the podcast and why it is in your benefit to hop on today. 22/2/22 is pretty special, but it's a numerology thing. Astrologically, there is no backing up behind this, but I just love the date. But the season that I chose was very deliberate. I chose to launch the private podcast in Pisces season. Why? Because right now we have even more access to our unconscious. We have more access to get into that flow state. Because remember, Pisces is a water sign. And we are able to dive deeper into our subconscious layers. And the reason why this is so critical right now is because we are going to move into a little bit more intense energy in March. Now, I've talked about this before, so this is not a surprise, but I want you to be prepared. Now, if you've listened to the weekly forecast and the cosmic reflections and you enjoyed them, I am inviting you to take the next step. Because I want you to invest your time and energy into making this a weekly practice. Now that maybe sounds like it's going to be very time consuming. It is not, because in the end it will save you time. The way to do this is on the private podcast, the Cosmic Confirmation. You will get a weekly forecast and you will get a weekly reflection, as well as a monthly Q&A. This forecast is going to be 5 to 10 minutes long. You listen to it, take notes, and then at the end of the week, again, a 5 to 10 minute podcast to reflect on the week. The reason why this is going to save you time is because you know what is going to happen in the week ahead. The number one message that I get from my followers when I post something about what is happening with the astrology, and also the comments underneath the daily astro check-ins that I post on Instagram as well as in my private Facebook group. The number one thing that I hear is, oh, that makes so much sense why I feel like this. Or, of course, I was already wondering what was going on. Imagine if you're feeling it in the moment, on the day when it happens. Imagine if you can plan ahead for that and know exactly the next 7 days are going to have this type of energy. Because remember, astrology is not something that happens outside of ourselves. Yes, I talk about planets. I could be talking about Saturn and Jupiter and Venus. But remember, all of these energies live within your body. They live within you. So when you are able to see which energies are going to be more present that week or that day, you can schedule your work around it. So for instance, if you have a launch planned, you see that maybe Monday and Tuesday are going to be a bit more intense. You can back up your support system on Monday and Tuesday and then do the tasks that you think are more challenging. You move them to the end of the week. That doesn't mean that you have to change your whole schedule. That's also not the work that I do with my clients. We don't completely turn their schedules around. We look at what is already present, what is ahead of them, and then we course correct and see how we can move things into a different direction or a different location. So I don't want you to think that when you join the Cosmic Confirmation, that you have to see the forecast as a sort of forced way of doing things, another thing on your to-do list. I want you to turn it around. The forecast comes before your to-do list. you first look at what is ahead. I want to challenge you to be flexible with that. Move some things around, feel into it. And then at the end of the week, you can reflect on what has worked and what hasn't. And that doesn't mean you have to write 10 pages in your journal. That can literally be 3-4 words. But it brings you into a habit of closing the open loops of the week. I've been doing this on my public podcast, and I received so many beautiful messages. But I also know that because it's a free podcast, you can listen to it at any time, there's also less engagement. Let's just say you have less to lose because it's already there. But once you make a small investment, money-wise, time-wise, energy-wise, you get so much in return because you know that podcast is waiting for you. You know that on Sunday, you will get an email with written down what is the energy of the coming week. There are literally no excuses then anymore to be overwhelmed by the astrology, by the things that are going on. And I know we all know about the Mercury retrograde and things like that, but there are so many more subtle layers that you haven't even tapped into yet that are available to you when you take the time to look at it. And the reason that I'm launching it in this week is because there is already an internal battle. And if we can allow that energy to be, because most of it is not working with the energy, it is letting the energy be and then let it guide you. And that is a really important thing I want you to remember. We need to create space for the energy to be so that it can inform us on what is best. Now, just a little disclaimer, that doesn't mean that you're never going to experience any overwhelm. That doesn't mean that everything would just be easy peasy from now on. Even me as an astrologer, I still get into overwhelm. I still sometimes feel super frustrated or when things aren't going the way that I was hoping. Because we cannot manipulate the future. We cannot manipulate what is going to happen. But by knowing this and the way that I use it, I know how to catch myself before I go completely down into the rabbit hole. I know what is going on, so I know exactly what red flags to look for. So when you're listening to the forecast, and I'll be explaining about a week with quite a lot of high energy intensity, I will also tell you what the red flags will be. What can you pay attention to? What if certain things come up? And then you can call yourself back into your body, back into the present moment. Because most of the times when we feel overwhelmed, it has to do with something in the future. But you have the ability to come back into the moment when you have the confirmation of what is happening. And the reason why it's called cosmic confirmation is because the number one thing that my clients tell me is, I love to get the confirmation. It feels so good to get the confirmation. I know it's not the most sexy word, confirmation, but it is the word that means a lot to every single one of us. Get that confirmation. Because you know what you're feeling already. And sometimes you just need that permission slip that says, it's okay. We all feel like this. And this is how you can move through it. Because I'm not just pointing out what is happening. I also give you the tools to move with that energy. If you sign up today on 22/2/22, I just love saying that. Also, I get confused and say it wrong all the time. If you sign up today, you also receive a free mini reading that you will get in your inbox. And that will help you to already get a bigger sense of what phase and season are you in and how can you utilize that in your business. For more information, you can go to patriciapanassi.com/cosmic, or you can simply go into the show notes and find the link there. And I love to be on this journey with you, so you get to know yourself better, you get to understand the cosmos better, and let it work for you, because it's here for you. And if you let it back you up, then you are unstoppable. For more information, check the show notes, and I would love to see you in there. Speak to you again very soon.